people may be acting up during this eclipse. Okay, fix your attention span for just a second. I need a little longer than usual to explain this transit to you, bestie. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, you've been trying to save things that are ready to leave. In fact, if something decreases or is removed from your life suddenly, it's a sign that something insanely beneficial is coming in. Things contract before they expand. And this eclipse is going to be intense, but there's so much opportunity and potential here. So grab a coffee, grab your notes, pretend we're on FaceTime for a second or an astro class together. This is a really special solar eclipse, so I want to make sure that you fully understand the energy. Here's the thing about eclipses. Something leaves your life during this time and something new takes its place. This can be a beautiful thing or a brutal thing. And sometimes you don't even realize what's being cleared from your life until 6 months later. And then you're like, okay, I see what the universe is doing here. And this eclipse will feel like a cosmic launch point. That's because the outer planets are at very early degrees of the signs. Think about it like a movie. We're at the part where all the characters have been introduced, the setting has been established, we understand everyone's role, and now the plot thickens. Something happens that changes the direction of the story. This is literally the opening plot. So let me ask you, as the director of your life, where are you taking your story next? Really think about that, because what begins around this eclipse sets the tone for the next year and a half. You are the weaver of your destiny, but you also need to check in and make sure your life is proportioned correctly. Where are you giving away too much energy? Where have you been putting in too little energy? What are you tolerating that drains you? Where have you known you've needed a better path but have been procrastinating at taking it? This eclipse is telling you to update your life codes. This is a good time to redefine your self-concept. Stop tolerating that drains you. Bring forward the version of yourself that you've been doing all of this healing to become. There are pathways out of negative, energy draining karmic loops. There is that opportunity to step out of it, even if the path out isn't super glamorous. But hey, there is an exit. That's because eclipse season brings endings, resolution, and opportunities to finally step out of patterns you've outgrown. And with all this Leo energy, I want you to pay attention to your light, your confidence, your creativity, your joy, your solar plexus. These are the parts of yourself that make you feel alive. Your light will show you where to go next, which means you need to identify it, nurture it, and protect the hell out of it. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. Don't let anyone feed off your light. Energy vampires are going crazy during this eclipse. And don't dim your light just because it burns someone else. That's not your problem, babe. Let them burn. Now, eclipse season can feel incredibly dense and emotionally intense. So don't confuse an emotional reaction with divine instruction. Sit with things, detach when you need to, and don't make enormous decisions in the middle of a crash out. Give yourself time to process first. You have to sit with it and feel it to heal it. Instead, put that intensity into creativity, healing, reflection, and taking better care of yourself. At the same time, this is not the season to keep procrastinating, especially on the things you know needs to change. There's a difference between taking your time and straight up avoiding your life and your responsibilities. This eclipse requires discipline, determination, and a willingness to stop running under the same life codes when the universe clearly sends a software update. Personally, I don't recommend manifesting during an eclipse. I've been an astrologer for 7 years and I have toyed and experimented with this for 7 eclipses. I've also done 1,000+ readings and I had clients toy and experiment with this. In conclusion, I don't recommend manifesting during an eclipse. One thing I've noticed is anything that is manifested during an eclipse cycle typically gets removed by the next eclipse cycle. Or whatever you're manifesting comes with a lot of chaos and false starts. So if that's not in alignment with your intention, then I wouldn't be manifesting. Instead, use eclipse season for observation and release rather than trying to force a specific outcome. Eclipse season is already an incredibly fated time. Pay attention to what's being revealed to you, what's naturally arriving, what's naturally leaving. Think of eclipse season like being caught up in a wave. Once you're in it, fighting against the water will usually exhaust you. It could put you in more danger doing that. Sometimes you have to just let the wave carry you until your feet touch the ground again. And the wave may actually place you in better conditions for creating what you want once the eclipse passes. So if something suddenly decreases, suddenly leaves, or gets removed from your life, don't immediately assume you're being punished. Like I said, sometimes contraction comes before the expansion. Sometimes an ending is simply confirmation that you cannot return to who you used to be. And I do want to acknowledge that this eclipse carries heavier symbolism, especially with Pluto being involved. This could bring up themes around endings, grief, control, and transformation. Some people may experience that symbolism more intensely than others. And if that's you, I'm sending you so much love and healing. Hang in there. This will pass. Also, people may be acting up during this eclipse. This could look like power struggles, manipulation, love bombing, control issues, people starting drama because they need everyone in the room orbiting around them. Those unhealthy dynamics become impossible to ignore during the eclipse. So if someone starts crashing out because they can no longer control the narrative, don't join in on the crash out. This is not a great time for people who suck the life out of the room through their drama. It's not going to work during this season. It's going to backfire, actually. We have South Node in Leo. This is not good for the narcissists, the abusers, the manipulators, the people who need to control every single bit of the outcome, people who are self-centered in social situations. This eclipse cuts the with quickness. The South Node in Leo has no tolerance for it. Also, people are standing up for themselves. This is more favorable energy for people who are altruistic, the Robin Hood type characters. Stand up for yourself and do not be consumed by somebody else's chaos. Eclipse energy can feel extra intense, so please take extra care of yourself and your mental health during this time, especially if you are sensitive to energy shifts. Sleep, eat, get offline, go outside, journal, see your loved ones. Sometimes all we need is a snack and a really good long sleep to feel better. Lead with love, lead loudly, protect your light. Remember that a lion does not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. Let's get into what all this means for your specific zodiac sign. Don't forget to watch for your sun, moon, or rising. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. You are moon ruled, so you will always be heavily impacted by eclipse season. I do have astrology messages for you, but I want to first start off with the oracle card that you got. You got the oracle card, the womb. Alchemically, I feel like this is where you are, the womb space, ready to be reborn, ready to birth something into this universe. You may be contemplating your origin story. Maybe you're returning to warmth, tenderness, kindness, learning to accept love, learning to receive, not just achieve. Maybe you're forgiving and cherishing the most wounded parts of you. Keep it simple and allow yourself to be reborn, or allow whatever you're bringing forward into this universe to be born from love and passion. You also could be healing your parental wounds and deconditioning from that identity projected onto you. Let's get into the astrology. This eclipse is about to expose every single area in your life where you've been underestimating yourself. You are done treating your biggest gifts and talents like they're just some hobby. This could be a time where you're preparing to launch that business, raise your prices, ask for a promotion, invest in yourself. Financial opportunities are ready to find you, and it's because you're willing to be seen. It's hard for the universe to bless you if you're in hiding. This eclipse wants to rewrite your life codes around worthiness and money. Maybe you learned that your value was something that had to be earned. Maybe you were always the responsible one, the dependable one, the overachiever. Maybe you convinced yourself that if you were more qualified, more accomplished, more experienced, then you'd finally feel confident enough to go for it. But can I call you out real quick? You've been waiting to feel ready, when in actuality, I think you're just waiting to feel impossible to criticize. But those are not the same thing. You gain confidence by doing the thing, by letting yourself shine even if your voice is shaking. You've also been carrying fears that don't belong to this person that you're becoming. Maybe it's fear of rejection, fear of intimacy, fear of asking for help, fear of depending on someone else, fear of failure, fear of success. Fear that if you let your guard down, someone will take advantage of you. Pick your fighter. And the interesting thing about fear is that it rarely announces itself as fear. It disguises itself as being realistic, as staying in control, as not wanting to get your hopes up, by saying, I'm just protecting my peace. But are you protecting your peace or are you protecting your fear? This eclipse is revealing where you still operate in survival mode. You don't have to become someone who never feels fear, like that's a normal human emotion, but you don't have to obey that fear. Don't let fear be your king. Also, life is about to get real busy during eclipse season, but in the best way. It could be due to the new job opportunities, new clients, maybe new health goals, new daily routines. And at first it could feel like life is asking you for a lot, but sometimes we ask the universe for expansion and then we freak out when our schedule expands. But don't panic. You might be taken out of your comfort zone for a little, but maybe that's what it takes to call in that future that you've been wanting. Don't be afraid to say yes to the opportunity. Apply for the job. Try the new routine. It's okay to start before you have it all figured out. You'll figure it out as you go. Your new life isn't going to be built using the same habits. Feel the need to pull a card for you. Confirm this message. Okay, here we have Two of Pentacles. So this is confirming that you're juggling quite a bit. You're multitasking, but you can handle it. You can manage it. There's also something about your home, family, emotional foundations, your sense of belonging or sense of safety that is reaching a natural completion. You're breaking out of some karmic loop here. Maybe you've outgrown certain roles, or you're going no contact with family, or you're fixing certain family dynamics. Maybe you're moving, or maybe you're just learning to create more peace in your life. You're letting go of a lot of emotions having to do with family that were never yours to carry in the first place. I feel like a lot of you are breaking generational curses. You're breaking out of those family patterns. You're starting new traditions. And luck is on your side. Luck supports you in this journey because you shouldn't build a future on a foundation that is cracking. So don't be afraid to examine those foundations and fix the cracks. There's also an identity that you have, a version of you that cannot come into this next chapter. And there will be a moment when you realize, I don't think like this anymore. I don't feel like this anymore. And I'm not like this person anymore. And that's a really big deal. That could change your life circumstances because it's changing you. Maybe old triggers loosen their grip. Old versions of you just don't make sense anymore. Maybe relationships shift because you're not showing up as that same person they expected. Maybe relationships get better because you're no longer being someone you're not. You don't have to stay loyal to the version of yourself that was built off of survival mode. Something has to leave your life, right? So something new can enter. Let's get confirmation on that with the tarot. Okay. Yeah, you got the card Fulfillment and the Nine of Cups. This is a good card. This is about wishes coming true, realizing your dreams, this is about success, prosperity, abundance, and you're passing a threshold here. Your future is built based on one decision at a time. Your dreams are worthy of your discipline, so trust the process. Don't compare yourself to others. You are on your own timeline. And honestly, this eclipse is asking you to grow up. It's time to become become more self-reliant. It's time to keep the promises you make to yourself. I hope you guys heard that bird. Trust your decisions, because one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be living the life you've been praying for. And that life is built every time you keep showing up for yourself. And yes, we have to show up for ourselves before we have proof that something's going to work, because it only works by us taking the leap. Hi, my name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years, and around here we don't just learn astrology, we use it to navigate real life. My goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit, so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching. Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. Before we get into astrology, let's discuss the oracle card that you got. You got the card, the Maiden. Put that right there. Alchemically, the Maiden is the epitome of sensuality. If you get it, you get it. Okay. The Maiden is the epitome of sensuality, being compelling and addictive. It's got this youthful, naive energy. Imagine like the wonder you had for life when you were 19 years old. You didn't know any better. Everything about life was unknown, but you were fearless. And then life humbles us when we get older, and we lose that sense of wonder. We become afraid of being naive because we don't want to get hurt again. And we sort of hold ourselves back in a weird way. The Maiden represents that side of us that is curious and stands at the threshold of the unknown. Don't be afraid to take that leap and see where this adventure takes you. Yeah, you might fail, or it might not work out, or maybe you get your heart broken, but that challenge is a part of life. We can't stay locked up and closed off because we're scared. That's something the Maiden understands. Your modern day ruler, Pluto, is in opposition to the eclipse by sign. So yeah, you're gonna feel this one. Scorpio, I think this eclipse is going to put you on the map. I'm talking career opportunities, promotions, leadership roles, business launches, recognition, or a completely new life direction. This can unfold over the next several months. And you may finally decide to go all in on something, or to go all out of something. This eclipse will expose where you feel unsafe being seen. Maybe that stems from the pressures of success. Success could come with criticism and expectations and responsibilities, but I think you've spent way too much time protecting yourself that you've also been putting up a blockade, and that's stopping you from being recognized. Can I call you out? You've been saying you want the opportunity, but have you been living like someone who's ready to receive the opportunity? This eclipse wants to rewrite your life codes around success. You are meant to make an impact, but how can you do that if you stay invisible? There's also a lot of transformation happening underneath career. This eclipse could expose emotional patterns that started in childhood, within your family, within your environment. All of that defined what safety means to you, and it might be time to rewrite that definition. Don't mistake emotional control for security. That leads to feeling like you have to be the person who always holds it together. You have to be independent. You can't ask for help. Asking for help could feel physically uncomfortable. But the beautiful thing about this eclipse is that it doesn't just reveal the wound, it reveals that you've outgrown the wound. This could be a time where you're setting those boundaries, redefining what home means, healing emotional triggers, or realizing that you don't want to keep recreating that same family chaos. Can I ask you something? If peace showed up at your door, would you know how to let it in? Let's get a card on that to confirm. You got the card, the Emperor, and I feel like this is all about about the traditions that you uphold. Some of you could be breaking those family traditions, breaking those family patterns and those generational curses, and starting your own traditions. I feel like a lot of you are the leader of the family now. There's also this energy of reparenting yourself, specifically through the father wound. You are being asked to go beyond your comfort zones, especially when it comes to financial opportunities, new income streams, asking for a raise, clients, making investments. Sometimes we pray for abundance while constantly talking ourselves out of what we're worth. The eclipse wants you to stop making decisions based on that feeling that you are not enough and there will never be enough. Say yes to the investment. Say yes to the new job. Say yes to negotiating pay. The reward here isn't just about the money. It's about healing your relationship to receiving. You're also breaking out of a long-standing karmic loop by letting go of an emotion you've carried for a long time. Maybe it's grief, resentment, feeling responsible for another person. Whatever it is, this eclipse helps you to see the truth. Healing doesn't happen because somebody apologizes or somebody gives you the closure. It happens because you close that loop yourself. Because you stop waiting for someone else to heal you and you take leadership and responsibility for your own healing. And there's so much luck surrounding you to do that. You're also breaking out of an illusion that someone else has put on you, a projection that someone else has put on you. You don't have to live in that anymore. You may find yourself releasing an old emotional attachment, ending a chapter in your life privately, or maybe you're finally making peace with something you thought would always hurt. There is like a truth that comes out with this eclipse, and that truth could kind of rock your world a little bit, but it's going to help you cut off the past. It's going to help you cut off anything that's draining your energy. Because with the truth, we can cope. With the truth, we can finally move forward. This eclipse is asking you to think bigger about what's possible in your life. The bigger your vision becomes, the smaller these old limitations become. Let's get some confirmation on that with the tarot. Oh, that went flying. Where's the card? Ha! Of course. Of course you got the card Seven of Cups in reversed. This is about reality checks, clarity, no longer being confused about something. This eclipse is also asking you to take responsibility for the habits and daily routines you have in your life, because that's something that can either support you or destroy you. So become more disciplined when it comes to your health, your work, your wellness, your schedule, and your business. At first, it might feel a little slow to get that momentum going, but do not confuse slow for stagnant. You are going to build something that lasts. You are ready to get strong, Scorpio. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Confidence and wellness and health isn't built the day that you achieve your goal. It's built through all of the ordinary, mundane moments where you still show up for yourself. And I have a feeling that this version of you that's coming through is unstoppable. Hi, my name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years, and around here we don't just learn astrology, we use it to navigate real life. My goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching. Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. Let's start off with the oracle card that you got. You got the card, the Castle. Alchemically, the Castle has 2 definitions. On one hand, it represents abundance, riches, fantasy. On the other hand, those same walls can become a glorified prison. Your soul longs to leave this fortress that you've built. It wants to go into the forest and adventure and frolic. Don't linger in these walls for too long. Break free. The castle will always be there when you return. This could represent a home or a physical space, but this could also be a place inside of yourself where your soul currently resides. This could be your throne of power, or the same walls can keep you stuck stuck? That's your choice. Let's get into the astrology. Your traditional ruler, Jupiter, is in the sign of Leo, caught up in this eclipse. So yeah, you're gonna feel this one. And this eclipse isn't asking you to change your life overnight. It's asking you to change your regular Tuesdays, because those regular mundane days, they compound and eventually become your life. This eclipse wants to bring in fresh energy into your everyday, into your workplace, your routines, your health, your habits, your daily responsibilities. Some of you are taking on new jobs, new projects. You might be trying to improve your health or create a routine that actually works for you. Make sure you're slowing down a little, because this eclipse can kind of have a bit of volatile energy. If you move too fast, you could accidentally miss some steps or get hurt. But your future doesn't arrive once you feel motivated. Can I let you in on a secret? Motivation is flaky. You can't rely on motivation to build your future. Sometimes you have to say how you feel in the moment and show up for the plan anyway. Follow the plan. Discipline is the friend that helps you move, not motivation. This eclipse wants to rewire your relationship to consistency. Stop waiting until you feel inspired to take care of yourself. Create these routines that support you now, not support you someday. Pisces, you're also breaking out of that spiritual jail. No wonder you pulled the Castle card. And I think you're finally catching yourself in the act. Not in a bad way, but in an honest way. You're beginning to notice the stories that play in the background of your mind. The voices in your mind that say, what if I fail? What if I succeed and I can't keep it? What if people judge me? What if I'm not actually good enough? The beautiful thing about this eclipse is it helps you to separate your intuition from your fears, your inner critic from your real voice. I saw a funny TikTok today, and someone said that they named their inner critic after a man, and now they don't listen to that inner critic as much. Remember that just because a thought is loud, it doesn't mean it's true. You have to think of your thoughts like clouds in the sky. You admire them, you look at them, and you let them pass. This could be a time where you're drawn to therapy, shadow work, meditation, dream work, spirituality, or maybe you're just spending more time getting to know your true inner voice and not that inner critic. Can I ask you something? If fear stopped narrating your future, what would your intuition say? Because I have a feeling she's been trying to get your attention for a while now. Ooh, let's pull a card on that. Okay. You got two cards. Okay. First card you got is Eight of Swords in reverse. This is about liberation, empowerment, mental clarity. The second card you got was the Tower in reverse. And this is about resisting change, just to avoid the adversity. Time to pick up the pieces and start new. I wouldn't be surprised if your career starts taking off. I'm talking recognition, rewards, promotions, leadership, a business that finally gains traction, or maybe you finally find the thing that you want to do every day. Maybe you want to teach, lead, create, or share your gifts with more people. Something is expanding here, so be willing to say yes. You've spent enough time wondering if you're qualified. The eclipse wants you to start asking a different question. What if you are exactly what someone is looking for? The more visible you become, the easier it is for the right opportunities to find you. You are also breaking out of a long-standing karmic loop when it comes to vulnerability, trust, shared finances, and emotional intimacy. I think you're ready to bond with people without abandoning yourself in the process. The eclipse also reveals where have you been overgiving in hopes of feeling more secure with people. Luck is on your side when it comes to healing all this. Healthy relationships don't require you to deplete yourself to keep them. You're also remembering how to have fun again. Not just productive fun, this could be a good business idea kind of fun. Just good old-fashioned fun. This eclipse brings in new creativity, new hobbies, a new confidence, a new romantic relationship, and it reconnects you to your inner child. This could also be a period where you spend more time with your children, if you have any. Your pet babies count. And tell your dog I said hi. You don't have to monetize all of your talents. Some things are allowed to exist because it makes your soul happy. Heck, you deserve to just exist and be happy. You also need to trust the process when it comes to your finances, when it comes to growing your roots and your security. That doesn't happen overnight, but I think think you're at this place where no one can take that away from you. This eclipse is asking you to take your gifts seriously. Build a savings account, learn the new skill. I always say learning one new high-paying skill can quite literally change your life. I know learning astrology changed mine. Charge what you're worth, invest in yourself, invest in the people around you who you want to work with and collaborate with. Keep the promises you make to yourself, especially the small ones, especially the financial ones. Let's get a tarot card on that part. Ooh, okay. Where'd the card go? Where'd the card go? Where'd the card go? Oh, here it is. Ooh, you got the card 9 of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards in the tarot. And this is about independence, success, financial abundance, thriving businesses, a new status, maturity and wisdom, and hard work. Hi, my name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years. And around here, we don't just learn astrology. We use it to navigate real life. My goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit, so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching.